Death of a Prophet was innovative and new. It's what's called a docudrama. This film was made long before Spike Lee's film, Malcolm X. It was also made long before any other films of Black American heroes. My name is Woodie King. I'm a theater person. I also work in film. I was able to get Morgan Freeman, and of course Morgan Freeman conveyed all the necessary nuances, all the necessary acting skills that were necessary to personify this character. As you watch Death of a Prophet, you will see the beginning of a major career in the work of Morgan Freeman. Of course, he had done a lot of television at that time and had accolades of all kinds at that time. But he had not done any major motion pictures whatsoever.
Peace, love for all mankind, sir. Please give this flower to someone you love, sir.
Join us. Move with us. Rid this world of all hate and violence.
Wear it with love.
Thank you very much.
So I am very thrilled to have been able to work with the talent of Morgan Freeman's an immense talent.
During the turbulent 60s, we saw the inner cities torn by racial strife like no other this country has witnessed.
The caliber of artists that appeared in Death of a Prophet is sort of like overwhelming. We had some of the finest actors, I think, in New York at that time. Yolanda King, Tommy Redmond Hicks, Mansour Nujiyala, and Richard Gant was there, and Sam Singleton, Kirk Kirksey, Shawneel Perry, Gene Harvey. It was just an array of wonderful artists at that time. And what we were able to do, of course, is go to the New York theater scene and cast it almost exclusively. The two artists who I remember mostly, of course, is Kirk Kirksey, who had done dozens of plays off Broadway and even did a couple of plays on Broadway. And, of course, the great Sam Singleton, who had done plays with us from the beginning of the 60s right on through until we made this film in 1982. So the array of artists are sort of like overwhelming. I feel very good about all those people who were involved in Death of a Prophet. In terms of the witnesses, and I think Death of a Prophet pioneered with that long before a lot of other films. I know 5 years later, you saw it in films by Warren Beatty called Reds, where he used witnesses. But in my film, Death of a Prophet, I used Ossie Davis, who had done the eulogy on Malcolm X. I used Yuri Kochiyami, who was actually there at the ballroom when Malcolm was killed, and cradled Malcolm in her arms. And it's a very famous photograph of her doing that. And of course, the great Imamu Amiri Baraka, who in a sense was at the feet of Malcolm, who took Malcolm's teachings and went on to create black theater and black art that had never been created before. Baraka's books for the Black Arts Movement was sort of like a primer, if you will, a catalyst for the entire Black Arts Movement of the 60s that came about as a result of Malcolm's death. Malcolm was killed February 21st, 1965. The bodyguards and everybody have been told he don't need any bodyguards today. But he didn't tell him that, you know? Okay, there were FBI surveillances all over the place. And they, in a sense, knew what was going to happen. Okay, but nothing, in a sense, happened. So on February 21st, 1965, when he was shot in the Audubon Ballroom, and over 200 people were in that ballroom. It took FBI, New York police, months to track down who had done it, even though it had been all kinds of rumors, all kinds of speculations that Malcolm would indeed be killed. And it was just a matter of time, because they had said he was a hypocrite and he had spoken out against the Honorable Elijah Muhammad for fathering children by his secretaries. He felt that the best thing for Honorable Elijah Muhammad to do would be to come and admit that he had made a mistake. Of course, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad really thought and took the position that Malcolm was to go out and do his teachings and not get involved in the personal life that he was leading. Now, that was 1965. I started researching and putting together all kinds of material on making this film as a major motion picture film. This was long before Spike Lee even thought about making this film. There was a documentary made by Arnold Pearl, and there was speculation that Marvin Worth was also going to do a film on the life of Malcolm X. So I thought, well, I just made something the day that he died. That's all. Everything would take place from the time he got up that morning until the time he was assassinated at that afternoon at the Audubon Ballroom. One of the things that I felt was necessary was have the proper research. And I think we researched it about a year and a half. All kinds of material had been pulled together from all over the world, documentary footage from everywhere, books from everywhere, in order to come up with the script, which I wrote in around 1980, and went about trying to find financing to do this film. I think one of the unique things about the time in which Malcolm was killed was the turmoil that was going on in America. We had the Watts riots in 1964. Immediately after his death, we would have the Harlem riots. Then we would have the riots in Newark of 1968, in Detroit of 1967. America was in turmoil. The Black Panther Party was on the move. People like Huey Newton and Eldridge Cleaver, was really speaking out and ranting for the freedom of black people to be able to articulate and say what was on their minds. So Malcolm's death, in a sense, crystallized all of that, brought that all to the front, and said, well, if they can kill Malcolm, they can do anything. So, in a sense, the cities began to burn, and the cry of "burn, baby, burn," the cry of "black is beautiful," the cry of Stokely Carmichael, "Black power, black power," say it again, say it loud, "Black power," and of course, the culmination of all of that was the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King in 1968.